Hello students, how are you all? Welcome to Scholar IAS current affair classes. Hope you are all doing good. So let's get into the classes. The first article is about MSP, that is minimum support price. This is related to your GS3 paper Agri section. Okay. So what is it about? What has come in what is in the news? Recently many stakeholders from many areas have been demanding statutory backing for MSP. Okay, statutory backing in the sense, as of now, there is no law that mandates the government to give MSP. Though the government is giving MSP, it is an executive discretion. Okay, even tomorrow, maybe the government can even scrap it because it doesn't have a legislative backing. Now, politicians, farmers, and different groups are actually demanding this MSP to have a legal backing. So before getting into this aspect, first let's see why do we need MSP? Which factors actually necessitate the need for MSP? See, one is for strategic reserves. Actually, in 2006, India faced a serious shortage of public stocks, and even at global level there was a food shortage in 2008. Considering these two aspects, there is a need to have a strategic reserve. Even though we already have buffer stock, this won't be enough to tackle such serious shortages. That's why we need a strategic reserve, and this MSP, through MSP we would be able to maintain a strategic reserve. And second thing is to meet the mandates under NFSA, that is National Food Security Act. Under this act, almost 66% of the population of India is given food grains at a subsidized rate. So to issue food grains under this act, government needs to have a buffer. Government needs to have a reserve. So MSP is a way to stock those reserves. And third thing is to increase farmers' income, because farmers are dependent on market. Though even if they are not able to sell their products in the market, MSP is a guaranteed income that they can expect upon, they can rely upon. So for these three reasons, MSP is important. In addition to this, there are two other reasons why MSP would be needed. We will see how it is efficient actually. The other two reasons are nothing but the actual performance of the MSP itself. One is MSP has actually ensured food security. As I said, through NFSA Act, 66% of the population is receiving food grains at subsidized rate. And second is farmers' income. We know that Indian agriculture is highly input intensive agriculture, and only through public procurement that happens through MSP, farmers get an assured income. So this has actually happened, and this is how it has performed. MSP has performed, and it has been the reason for it to stay even. But despite these benefits, there are certain drawbacks to it, and MSP also cannot act as a solution, as a long-term solution, because the MSP crops, there are actually 23 crops in MSP list under MSP system, and these crops actually make only up to 25% of the total value of crops produced, and the rest are actually dependent on the market price, and they are subject to price fluctuations. And next is, as I said, out of these 23 crops, government actually procures, heavy procurement happens in wheat and rice, and the amount of procurement is so high that even it is 50% more than the actual requirement of those food grains. So it is skewed towards wheat and rice only. What happens? This would push farmers to produce only those crops that have guaranteed income. That is, farmers would be interested to produce those 23 crops and won't be shifting their practices to growing other crops. This would actually lead to logistical challenge, because how much you can actually store in a FCI godowns, there would be a logistical challenge, and this would also lead to food subsidy rising to unsustainable levels. So these are the reasons why MSP cannot be regarded as a long-term solution. All this being said, let's see what would actually happen, how would it impact if a statutory backing is given to MSP. See, first of all, when statutory backing is given, the small traders, they would be pushed out of the market, because everything, farmers would start selling everything to the government, and these traders would have nothing to actually trade. So they would be pushed out of the market. And second thing, for state agencies like FCI, they would be forced to buy everything. At the same time, as the surplus will increase, as the stock increases, they would be forced to restore to open market sales. So because they are the only one who would be having all the crops with them, I mean food grains with them. So they would be the only point of sale for the consumers even. And at international level, this would be challenged at WTO, because the subsidy regime is, if doesn't feel compatible for WTO norms, as per WTO norms, then it would be challenged and it would be a serious issue for India. This being said, there is other things like, it would actually, this sort of MSP backing, statutory backing, would disturb the export markets, because as a farmer I would not be interested to be selling it, exporting, focusing on export market. Rather I would be interested to go for a guaranteed income that would be given by the government. Okay, so I won't be interested in export market, and it would be disturbing the existing setup. And second is, it would also disrupt the domestic supply chain. As I said, all the food grains that are being produced would be sent to the state agency godowns, not to the traders. So the supply chain would get affected, and the consumers would have to depend on these state agencies to release those stocks. And the third thing is, there would be too much of surplus. As I said, if government starts buying everything, if the government is only buyer in the market, then it would have too much of surplus, and that would mean they have to bear the burden of financial subsidy burden, because everything that they have to buy from farmers would have to be sold to the consumers at a subsidized rate. They will have to give subsidy to the farmers as well. So in this thing, the burden of subsidy would be on the government. Only way out of this, or one of the possible way out of this, is to decentralize existing food management system, food and agriculture management system, because right now FCI godowns are maintained across, and they are having almost a monopoly in procurement. But this can be decentralized, and the legal authority and financial support can be given to the state, so that they can actually procure according to the needs of their population in that state. So this is a better way to tackle this issue of MSP, statutory backing to MSP. So students, this is all about MSP. Remember to note these points. You can actually, a potential question can be asked on this, mains question can be asked in GS3 paper. So make a note of all these points and use it in your exam. The second article is on intellectual property. This article is more related to GS2 paper, international relations section, but few points can be also used in GS3 technology section. Okay, we will see which are the points. Before that, we will see what is in the news. Actually, India and USA actually has entered into an agreement, MOU. They have signed an MOU on intellectual property cooperation. This was signed between DPII, that is Department for Promotion of Industry and Internal Trade, and the United States. This was a department in Indian ministry, Indian government, and between United States Patent and Trademark Office. So these two bodies have entered into this intellectual property cooperation. So how it will actually benefit India? See, through this cooperation, India can actually boost itself and become as a major player in global innovations, and also it can further the objective of National IPR policy, that is National Intellectual Property Rights Policy 2016. The objectives of IPR policy can be achieved through this. Okay, and next is, it also facilitates exchange of best practices between these two countries, and it will also get other stakeholders involved, and they can get the knowledge and experience about it. The other stakeholders, I mean the public, the industry, the universities and R&D organizations. Okay, all these organizations can cooperate, in both these countries can cooperate and learn the best practices from each of them and can bring it back to India in specific. Our organizations can learn from US organizations and can bring it back here. In addition to this, there could also be collaboration programs, training programs, and even exchange programs between these two countries. Also, a possibility for modernization of the information system in IP in both the countries. So this is about this. These are the benefits of this MOU. Now let's see about National IPR Policy 2016. So this IPR, the tagline of this IPR policy itself is to create India and innovate India. So it aims to actually through this tagline we can understand that the policy itself aims to incentivize entrepreneurship, creativity and innovation. So this it's not about copying products, it's not about counterfeiting products of another country or another product, rather developing, creating our own innovations and promoting through our innovations, promoting entrepreneurship. So this is the broader idea of this national IPR policy. The policy has 7 objectives. Students go through these 7 points. Okay, these can be potentially asked in a prelims exam. You don't have to mug it up, but get a better idea about what are the points. Okay, because they can list out few points and ask which are these are the objectives of the policy itself. Okay, so have a look at it, not to intentionally memorize it, but have a look at it often so that you get an understanding of what it tries to do. And next point is the nodal agency for this is the Controller General of Patents, Designs and Trademarks. So this is very important for potential prelims question, and this authority is under DPII, okay, Department for Promotion of Industry and Internal Trade. Make a note of this point, students. And this policy also tries to incentivize innovation among startups. As I said, innovation can only through innovation entrepreneurship can be brought in, and this also would promotes providing loan guarantees for MSMEs. MSMEs are backbone of Indian economy because their employability is high. So only when these startups and MSMEs are given loan guarantees, are given access to credits, they would be able to expand themselves and able to provide a sustainable growth. So students, this is all about this intellectual property article. You cannot expect a direct question on these points. Rather, these points can be used according to the question being asked in international relations as well as in GS3 paper. Okay, so have a look at it, make note of these things and use it in your exam, revise it and use it in your exam. So students, that's all for today's class. For more current affair related content, visit our platform Skholar.com, and for more videos on current affairs and other subjects, subscribe to our channel. So happy learning. See you. Bye bye.